Hello. Hello. So glad you're here. I have so much to talk. So excited you're here. I have so much to talk about. So many notes, so many news stories this week. I'm going to have to change it up a little bit. Usually I kind of talk about a few things, go in depth, give you a little history, those kind of things. This week I think I just spit. This week, there is so much news to get through that I'm just going to have to pay attention to my script and my browser. I'm trying to pay attention to you because you're here to hang out and hear about the news. But first and foremost, call to actions. What's the plural of call to action? It's calls to action, not call to actions. But I have some calls to action for you. First and foremost, I wanted to remind you that where did my call to action? There they are. First and foremost, I want to remind you that Y Combinator, the best startup accelerator in the world. Tons of unicorns, tons of successful companies. A lot of people locally have had the opportunity to go through YC, and it's just a really, really good program. Mostly, not only for the programming, but mostly because of the network that you develop from going to YC. Well, their applications are due soon. So if you're working on a venture scale startup that you think is compelling, you think it has potential, you think it has the possibility to potentially be a unicorn, you might want to look at YC. The applications are due Sunday, July 27th. So I sincerely hope you're watching this episode before that, but also keep in mind YC's pretty cool about this stuff. Like, you can send in stuff late, and if it's a really great concept or you really impress them, they may pull you into the interviews even after the deadline. The other part of it is that you can apply early for future batches. So if you're like, I really can't handle fall 26, but I could do winter 26, then just go ahead and apply now and get your name in there, get those conversations going, get that done. And if you want to be in fall 2026 batch, then you need to get your application in by July 27th. I believe it's like at 8 p.m. is that, like, they have it very like July 27th at 8 p.m. So get that done. The other application that's closing soon is Pitch Latino Portland. So if you're a Latina founder building something interesting, you want to get up on stage and tell people about what you're building in Portland, there are also opportunities in Seattle and elsewhere. This is the Portland one. But if you'd like to take the stage in Portland, please get that application in. Those are due July 30th. And as you may have heard, Latino Founders has just, moved in to a new space. They're calling it the Founders Hub for Portland. And that's right on the park block. So who knows? Maybe you go apply to Pitch Latino. You get up on stage, you get some recognition, you get some money, because everybody who appears on stage at Pitch Latino gets a big check. And so maybe you do that, and then you wind up sitting in the Founders Hub with a lot of other founders. And then you're kind of in this, what is developing into a startup district in Portland with Big Pink. The founders, upstart collectives in Big Pink, the Founders Hub that Latino Founders is standing up. There used to be co-working in Custom House. That may come back someday, but there's a really nice dynamic starting to come together around the park blocks there, and you can be part of it. So please, if you'd like to be on stage, apply to Pitch Latino before July 30th. Don't drag your feet. The other thing I wanted to mention, still a ways out, September 8th through the 10th, but DevOps Days Portland is coming up. So if you are into the DevOps, you want to talk to other people who do DevOps, you want to learn about DevOps, this is a great place to do it. And I have a discount code for you. It's just all caps, Silicon Florist, all one word, SILICONFLORIST. And that will get you, I think it's a 20% discount. So it'll knock a few bucks off there for you if you want to grab a ticket to that. I'll remind you about that a lot because I just love having tech events here in town. Speaking of which, next week Chain React, the U.S. National React Native Conference, will be here in town. And lots of people descending on Portland. I wrote up a huge post with all kinds of let me pull it up. I wrote up a huge post for folks visiting. If you want to attend, you can still get tickets. As I mentioned before, our friends Brittany Ellick, Annie Sexton are doing a workshop that is free and I believe gets you access into the Chain React conference, potentially for free. Again, I haven't done my research. I apologize, but I just wanted to share with you this compendium, this kind of primer. It's a Pearl-centric Portland primer because, they're hosting it in the Pearl. So if people were coming, I was like, hey, I wanted to help you out by giving you some options here and that kind of thing so that, I may do a whole video on this because there's so many things to talk about. But at a very, very high, quick level, this may be valuable for you if you have friends and family visiting Portland in the summer. So I go through things like how to get around with your hot pass and all that stuff, how to get from the airport on Max, like Bike Town and Lime and Lyft scooters and Uber and Lyft and all that kind of thing. I go through a bunch of good coffee places, like specifically good coffee, like Sisters, like Deadstock, Courier, Case Study, Never, Stumptown, Cafe Umbria, the good old place where we used to hang out all the time back in the Pearl prior to the pandemic when we did the pie stuff out of the Wieden Kennedy building. Barista, one of the originals. Less and More, and then that's all kind of like downtown Pearl Northwesty kind of stuff. And then of course things like Kova and Hart and Roseline that have multiple locations. If people aren't into coffee, there's like Tea Bar, there's Mako Matcha Mill, Project Matcha, there's Unomi Matcha. Those are listed. For food, I suggested some food cart pods like the Midtown Beer Garden that Expensify runs. Expensify is also sponsoring the closing party for this event, so that's great. Some other pods like Cartopia, Hawthorne Asylum, Wonderlove, all that jazz. A bunch of places to eat like Fuller's, Screen Door, Nong's, Thai Peacock, Charlie's Deli is awesome, Grassa, Kedice, Andina, Oven and Shaker, The Star, Mother's, Verde Cucina, Pizza Cat, South Park, Seafood, Higgins, Con, Eam, Lovely's 50/50, Jeju, Athuri, The Paper Bridge, Kachka, Pizza Thief Ranch, all kinds of just interesting places for people to go. And then also, given that they're going to be in the Pearl and this is Portland, I felt like I needed to highlight a few brew pubs. So there's that kind of stuff, as well as like mocktails and cocktails and those kind of things. If people are looking for something a little more fancy, like the Susil, the Teardrop, Scotch Lodge, which just won a James Beard Award, Rum Club, Hey Love, those kind of thingamajigs, Coffin Club. I had to put Coffin Club on there. And then I wanted to remind folks that it still is the summer of slushies all throughout July. The Portland Mercury has a bunch of places serving like $10 alcoholic slushies. So if you're into that, there's a whole map for that. And then the usual, if you got free time, like go to Powell's, go to the Japanese garden, go to the Chinese garden, go to Forest Park, that kind of stuff. Okay. So that's all there, all with descriptions, all with addresses. Again, I may just do a video on that because it's such a, I don't want to say meaty because that might offend our vegetarian and vegan friends, but there's a lot to sink your teeth into on that post. So it may require a video in and of itself. But if you're in town for Chain React, please take a look at that list and hopefully it helps you feel more at home here in Portland and hopefully you love it as much as we do. Okay, and then I just came across this other thing, just jumped out at me, has to do with the whole right to repair thing. There's an event occurring in Vancouver, Washington on July 30th called Own Your Shit. And it's really just describing this movement to ensure that companies have the right to repair. And Oregon, if you'll remember, has one of the most substantial right to repair laws on the books and has really been informative to other states on how to deal with right to repair. So if that's of interest to you, that's coming up July 30th in Vancouver. Again, I will link up stuff so you can get to the stuff and things. Okay. The way I'm going to try and go through this, because there are so many stories, is I tried to kind of put them into little groups so that I will divide this into chapters. So if you're like, I don't care about that, you don't have to watch that. You can jump ahead. You can go to something else. But, in this video, there will be chapters for you to jump to whatever topics you want to talk about. Okay, so the first thing that came out that I want to hit upon is kind of the Apple theme. So this week, I wrote about a couple of Portland companies that won Apple Design Awards for their app work in the Apple ecosystem. One, of course, went to Panic. As would be expected, Panic is one of the most amazing Mac OS software developers in the world, and they're right here in Portland. They won an award for Blippo Plus, which if you haven't even encountered Blippo Plus, it's a trip. It's like surfing through mid 80s, not even cable television. It's more like mid 80s public access television. It's hard to explain. Check it out. Apple loved it enough to give it an award. And then the other one is Hearing Buddy, which is designed to help people with hearing issues. Just another really interesting app, really thoughtful approach to how to help people with listening challenges through an app that helps basically transcribe and give them closed captions for daily life, I guess is the best way to put it. So, of course, that also won an award from Apple. So congratulations to them. I'm talking so fast. I think my throat is seizing up. And then another one, World Reborn, which is a game from Wicked Saints Studio in Medford, Oregon, just won app of the game of the day for the App Store, the Apple App Store, and saw a post about that. Hopefully that gets them a lot more users and a lot more recognition. Jessica Murray, who is the founder of Wicked Saints Studio, I'm so all over the board, is coming up to Portland for the Angel Oregon Tech announcement. She will be the speaker, the same way Darren Marshall from Smith Tea Maker was the speaker at the CPG one. Jessica will be the speaker at the tech one. So that's coming up in August, I believe. Get your tickets. Okay, next theme, money and moves. I don't know. I don't do, if you read my blog, I'm really bad with headings. I don't do headings well. I write run-on headlines that go for 3 or 4 lines on my blog before you even get into the stuff. So forgive me if I didn't come up with terribly creative theme buckets, but that's why I'm calling this one money moves. Okay. So perhaps the biggest news this week, one of those that kind of raises that issue about what even is a Portland startup these days in a remote first world where talented people work all over the place for a singular company. And Portland was already a really good remote town even prior to the pandemic. We had a lot of people who worked for Bay Area companies but lived here, or Seattle companies lived here, companies back east, companies in Europe, but they lived here. And so we were already kind of dialed into that whole remote culture. And obviously during the pandemic, that just exacerbated all that stuff. So I think what I'm trying to say is headquarters in Portland are not nearly as important to me anymore. It's more things like, do you have a co-founder here? Do you have a regional office here? Are important team members here? Are executive leadership here. Those are the kind of things I start to look at. If you want to headquarter a company here, please do. We would love for that to happen. But I'm not going to discount your startup just because your headquarters aren't here if you have amazing people in town. And that's exactly what the case was with Embrace. Embrace, the president and chief product officer lives here, and VP of engineering lives here. Probably some other folks on the team that I'm not aware of, but Embrace was just acquired by Palo Alto Networks. And so congratulations to them on that exit. I don't have a ton of detail on like for how much or what the terms of the deal were, but it's always nice to see local folks having a successful exit, especially to a major tech company like Palo Alto. So congratulations to the folks at Embrace. Hope it's a good exit for you. Hope you enjoy your new employer. And it's always nice to see folks here in town, even if their company is not headquartered here, folks here in town building interesting, compelling solutions that other companies decide to acquire. So congratulations to Embrace. Lewis and Clark got a $1 million grant from Google.org, Google's foundation. This grant is going to help Lewis and Clark with their cybersecurity education, curriculum, programming, all those kind of things. My peer, fellow Whitman alum, Adam Buchwald, who's the chief information officer at Lewis and Clark, was also recognized in the announcement. So that was very nice to see, a familiar name in that announcement. And they kind of, I'll link it up, but they kind of go through what they're thinking about using this money for. I've been working on a big cybersecurity post. Like, part of what I've missed most about working on Silicon Florist more consistently is that I haven't really been taking the time to do deep dive, thoughtful pieces for a while. But I've started to ramp that back up. And so I'm working on a very detailed piece on the history of cybersecurity startups in Portland and how we have such a robust, wealth of talent here around cybersecurity. We have opportunities with new cybersecurity startups like C1, which used to be Conductor One, is like teasing something that's potentially coming out next week. They're doing some big events and down in the Bay Area. So we have a history of being really, really good at cybersecurity. Really nice to see Lewis and Clark be able to capitalize on that, and nice to see Google recognize the value that Lewis and Clark brings to that education. So just wait for the cybersecurity post. The research takes a while, but I'll get it done. I'll try and get it out next week. I won't promise you, but I will try and get it out next week. And then, just like it's more education, more talent, more kind of top of the funnel talent for cybersecurity companies and the money to effectively do that programming. So congratulations to Lewis and Clark on that. Speaking of grants, our friends at Boulder Care announced they received a $1.8 million grant. If you're not familiar with Boulder Care, they keep a pretty low profile. They're pretty quiet around here, but I'm trying to grab some time with the team to talk to them more, just so we can kind of raise their visibility, because what they're doing is amazing. Like, super thoughtful, and also really well timed, because they work with opioid addiction and basically the opioid crisis. Like, how do you help people recover and deal with opioid addiction, which is a huge challenge for any number of communities. And Boulder Care right here is working on it right here in Portland. So that's Boulder, Boulder, like the town in Colorado, Boulder Care, or like a giant rock. What am I talking about? Like, like the town in Colorado, like the thing that Sisyphus, and spit again, like the thing that Sisyphus is rolling up the hill and then rolls back down on him, which I often feel like I'm in kind of a Sisyphean analogy on a regular basis as well. So that's probably what I should think of when I think of boulders. Okay, enough. Oh, and then, one more in this section, our friend Paige Hendricks Buckner. Paige loves The Secrets, but this time I'm leaving her out. I don't think I'm talking about her in The Secret. Well, I might, but talking about Paige Hendricks Buckner, who is the CEO of All Raise, which is an amazing organization that is working to ensure that more LPs, VCs understand the benefits of investing in more diverse teams, in women-led teams, in BIPOC-led teams. All that kind of work is where Paige and her organization are focused. And she was on a recent podcast that I linked up. It's called The Czech Writers Room, which I really love that name. Like a writer's room is like where they do the comedy or the script writing or those kind of things. And Czech Writers Room is just really nice play on that concept. So really great conversation with Paige. Always a great conversation with Paige, seriously. But check that out if you're interested in learning more about her and the work that she does. Okay, larger, broader, bigger. I mentioned YC at the top. Apparently a bunch of YC companies and YC. You know how you always hear about big tech? Well, these folks have gathered now to be a kind of little tech consortium, little tech association. So what can little tech do to influence government? How can they influence policy? How can they influence electeds? What can they do at the federal level to ensure that startups are getting, a fair shake and the opportunity to build the kind of companies they want to build without regulation suppressing what they want to build and suppressing innovation. And so I just conceptually like this. I haven't dug into it a ton. I just started kind of paying attention to it, but it reminds me an awful lot of what Mata Zepeda did way back in the day with the Portland Independent Chamber of Commerce, when she was worried that what is now known as the Portland Metro Chamber was representative of larger businesses in the community. And she was worried that startups and smaller businesses really didn't have the voice that they deserved to be influencing policy locally and dealing with electeds and dealing with issues. And so she and a group of folks created the Portland Independent Chamber of Commerce. PCOC is what the acronym was. And really great organization. You may know it now as Better Portland, or you may have known it as Business for a Better Portland, but these days it's known as Better Portland. And this kind of little tech association reminds me a lot of that origin story, so I will keep an eye on it. Obviously not a Portland focused thing, the little tech thing, but I think it could apply to a lot of you who are building early stage startups and need that kind of representation, and not lobbying per se, but, influencing policy in a positive way for startups. Okay. And then we were mentioned as Portland and Portland, Maine, both made a list for LinkedIn cities on the rise that basically says, we're a good city for employment and that things are improving around here. And based on what LinkedIn can see from their data, Portland, Oregon's pretty cool. I think we might have come in at lucky number 13 on that list. So it didn't quite crack the top 10, but we're moving on up to the east side. So check that out. Of course, I will link that up if you want to read that. And then there were just a whole bunch of apps that I picked up on. Like, I already talked about some apps that won some prizes. These are apps that are, still early, still being launched. Out of Bend, there's an app called Quilled that's designed to help you with your branding or rebranding. Obviously, like so many things these days, it is AI driven. Yes. They built the instruction and built the prompts and built the back end and the harness and all those things. So it's specifically focused on helping you come up with a viable brand for your company or help you rebrand your company. And this is near and dear to my heart because, as you may or may not know, the first 12 years I worked in startups, I worked in the marketing role, which meant branding often fell on my plate. So I've done a ton of branding. I've done a ton of rebranding, which is often harder than branding in the first place. And this tool, Quilled, is designed to help you with that. So if you're going through a rebrand, if you're struggling with your company's brand, I encourage you to take a look at Quilled and see if it can help you kind of formulate what that brand should be. Because without mincing words, a brand is not a logo or a logo type or a logo and a color. A brand is a feeling that permeates your business, your company, and that your customers feel. So I always say a brand is designed to make you make ridiculous decisions, designed to make you act rather than think. So you should either love or hate a brand. If a brand is just meh, then you don't have a good brand. If people hate your brand, that's even better than meh. So I could go on for hours. In fact, I have. I've done like sessions that are like 3-hour workshop on brand. So anyway, don't get me started, but just understand that if you're struggling with that, I know how hard it is. I know firsthand how difficult it is and how many parts of the company a brand touches, or how things, can be like disruptive when you're trying to have a cohesive brand throughout an organization. So if you're working on that, check out Quilled. Rami, do you have plants in your house? Do you have pets in your house? Are you concerned that some of your plants may be poisonous to some of your pets? Do you want to know more about the plants and how your pets interact with them? That's the whole concept behind Rami. I have seen plant apps from time to time, and I've seen pet apps from time to time, but I really like this unique crossover, helping people understand whether their house is safe for all the inhabitants of that household. And in the meantime, you also get to learn about plants. And who don't like to know more about plants? Plants are interesting. And so this app will help you. The other nice thing is it comes in both English and Spanish. So it can also be a way of helping you either learn or continue to keep up Spanish language as well. So just a really interesting app. Really happy that it appeared on the Portland Startup Slack. That's where I'm finding a lot of new apps today. So if you are a founder who's building an app in Portland or Oregon or Vancouver, Washington, and you're on the Portland Startup Slack with us, feel free to promote your app in Hype. I keep an eye on the Hype channel all the time. People hyping themselves up, people self-promoting. I want more of that. So I am keeping an eye on that channel constantly. If you post something in there, it's highly likely I will post something on the blog about what you're building, and then I may even talk about it here. So it'd be like a full circle moment where you'd be like, I heard on your on your video or podcast, I heard I was supposed to get on the Slack and hype what I was building. And so I did that. And then now I'm hearing about my app on the same podcast that I heard about the thing I should do. I don't know. But if you have plants and pets, check out Rami. Is it yacht-rock? I'm serious. Like, and I have a deep affection for wacky ass apps, and the fact that people still build them is just brings joy to my heart. So this is an app. What even is yacht-rock? It can be confusing, right? Like, is it Christopher Cross? Is it REO Speedwagon? Is it Tina Turner? I don't know where the bounds of yacht-rock live or float. So think of it like, Shazam or one of those kind of apps. But this is like if you hear a song and you want to know if it's actually yacht rock or not yacht rock. It's kind of like hot dog, not hot dog, but it's an app designed to help you identify actual yacht rock songs. I'm not kidding. And I love it. I love this concept. Please, more apps like this. So if you're really curious about yacht rock and you want to check whether a song's a yacht rock song, please check out, is it yacht rock? Lemon Bite. So Lemon Bite is designed to give you an ad-free RSVP platform for events. So, the creator was kind of like, I get really tired of having ads all over like Meetup or Eventbrite or whatever. And so this is just designed to be a stupid, simple RSVP platform. You pay a flat fee to use it per invite, and it's just quick invite, $5 an event. Use it once, use it a bunch of times, but it's designed to make very simple, kind of one-off, like parties, birthdays, those kind of things. Make it super simple to invite people. I think of it kind of in the same realm as like paperless post kind of stuff, or those kind of like, very targeted kind of invite things. So probably not like ongoing monthly meetup kind of stuff that you'd use a Luma or a Meetup or an Eventbrite for, but this is more for those just kind of one-off events. Like I know somebody in the startup community is having their 50th birthday soon at the end of next week, and so that person could have used Lemon Bite to invite people to the 50th birthday party. That would have been a great use for it. So it's for things like that. So if you are looking for a solution like that and you're equally frustrated with all the ads that are crammed into every last damn thing on the internet, this could be a good one for you. But I guess not everything on the internet, because this thing doesn't have any ads. So just check that out. If you're a party person who plans parties and programs events, could be a good one for you. Fan the Flame, another very targeted app. Again, I love targeted apps. This Fan the Flame is all it does is give you information about our WNBA team, the Portland Fire. When are they playing next? What were the scores? Who has the stats? All those things. It is the Fire in an app. Fan the Flame, designed by the folks at Silver Pine, a really well-known local app developer, and this seems to be just kind of like a passion project because they're fans of the Fire. And if you're a fan of the Fire and you want more detail at your fingertips about the Fire and where they are and what they're playing and how they're doing and all those things, then please pick up the Fan the Flame app. And then finally, I sat down with serial founder, Pi alum, Jeremy Roberts, who's working on a new concept called Funner, F-U-N-N-R, no E, kind of like Flickr of old. But he has, kind of solving a problem his family has had. It's really managing your kids' social schedule. So Funner is designed to help make that management of like play dates and birthday parties and field trips and camp and what have you, all the scheduling you have to do when you have a young social person in your household, and that falls upon the parents to negotiate and organize and all of those things. That's what Funner is designed to do. It's currently in closed beta, so I can't really show you anything or tell you much about all of the functionality, but if it sounds interesting to you, they are looking for beta testers, and they are onboarding people to get them to use the app so they can make sure that they've got the right feature set and that it does what people want it to do and does what they would expect it to do. So I will also, link up my conversation with Jeremy if you'd like to hear more of that. But also, if you're a parent struggling to juggle all your kids' social commitments, check out Funner. Okay, I ran as fast through that as I possibly could. This is now Secrets. Thank you for staying. It's always good to see you. You have so much patience for me. I always appreciate you. sticking around for the secrets section. And if you haven't been here before, secrets, this is basically where I drop out of character and just talk about stuff that's been happening this week and stuff I've done, and gives me a time to like slow down from speed running the news, as it were. Let's see what happened. I talked to a bunch of founders, talked to health device, wearable health device founder this week, caught up with them. Founder I've been talking to off and on, who's an Oregonian who spent a lot of time in the Bay and now is back here working on their new hardware and monitoring and wearable device. I got into a conversation on Blue Sky with somebody who was like, oh yeah, I moved up here from San Francisco. And I was like, I don't often get the opportunity to talk to people who've moved here without like, it's not really jaundiced, but like often I get inbound people who've somehow found me and they're like, hey, can I talk to you about Portland and learn more about that? But it's not very often that I get to reach out to somebody who chose to move to Portland and kind of like interrogate them about that decision. So I just took a flyer and was like, hey, dude, would you be willing to chat with me about why you moved to Portland and what it's been like and what's been good and what's been bad and what's been hard and what's been difficult? And you all know. And so they were kind enough to meet me for coffee and answer some of my questions and that kind of thing. That was really valuable for me to get in the right headspace. Caught up with Josh Carter at Upstart Collective, compared notes with him about what's going on there and some things that they're working on, and apparently they're growing really well and adding a lot of new members and getting a lot more people in Big Pink, where they now are up on the 5th floor. And so that's all good because Josh had this hypothesis that he's like, we need a large workspace where a lot of local startup founders can share this workspace, and it's starting to work. It's starting to fill up. And so that was really good to hear that from him. And then just compare notes on community and all those kind of things. Caught up with a couple other founders. One, I'm still not sure that they're ready to make a lot of noise about what they're doing, but they're doing something in the water space that is incredibly interesting and is a real kind of swing for the fences kind of thing. And, that's so rare around here that I always like to kind of champion those folks. So it's kind of like similarly, it's not the same concept, but the motivation to solve a big problem reminds me of the Panthalassa stuff as well. And so it's just nice to see more people taking big swings at compelling problems that could have global impact in a very, very positive way. So it was really nice to get to chat with him. I caught up with Mike Merrill, who is also a Pi alum through Oregon Storyboard. And he was in town to do his shareholders meeting. Because if you don't know this, Mike Merrill used to live here in Portland. He used to work for Panic. Mike is the world's first publicly traded person. Way back when he sold shares in himself. He still sells shares in himself. And a lot of us have bought shares in Mike Merrill over the years. But you should just check out his story. It's always good to get the chance to catch up with him. He's great, just like charming as fuck, and as is his former co-founder Marcus Estes. They're like quite a combination of charm. And so I don't even know where I'm going with this, but it was just really good to catch up with Mike. And you really need to know his backstory. Like, just go check out. It's called K-Mike-EM. K-Mike-EM? Is that what it is? Yeah, I think. I should know. It is K-Mike-EM. I glanced at my notes. But, yeah, it's just crazy. Like, he sold shares And as shareholders, he will often come to us and say, hey, I need to make a decision in my life. What should I do? Should I do this or should I do that? Should I get a tattoo? Should I cut my hair? Should I dye my hair? Should I go on this date? What should I eat? Where should I go? And you get to participate in his life as a shareholder. It's just so quintessentially like Portland kind of thing. So, please check out KMIGM if you haven't done that. And then that's that's kind of it for this week. I'm just glancing at my notes, but, and also got to talk to somebody who's considering Portland. So those were the nice bookends this week. There was somebody who I had never ever talked to who made this decision to move into Portland. They're definitely in the tech world. And so I got to kind of chat with them about things. And then I had this person who found me who's genuinely thinking about moving here. And I got to spend time with them, like basically giving him the lay of the land around Portland and that pitch. So great in that regard. Great for my headspace. I'm in such a better mood lately. And I think who would have thought taking on more work by, really diving back into Silicon Florist would bring so much joy, but it's a hobby. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy hanging out with you at the end of every week. So thanks for being here. But it's bringing me so much joy to talk more about what's going on in Portland and how great it is and all the interesting things you're building and all that kind of stuff, even if I do wind up spitting for some reason because I'm so excited. But I think that's about it for this week. So I'll let you go. It should be a great weekend. Hope you've got something interesting to do. Please check out a bunch of those links. There's just a lot of interesting stuff going on. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to let me know. And until we get the chance to chat again, please keep up the good work.